Describe a historical period you would like to know more about. You should say, what period do you want to know about? Why do you want to know about it? How do you think you can know about it? As an avid learner and history enthusiast, I always seek new ways to explore and discover the past. I am particularly interested in learning more about a certain historical period. By delving into the past, I hope to better understand the world and the events that have shaped it. What period do you want to know about? The historical period that I would like to know more about is the Age of Exploration. This period, which began in the 15th century and ended in the 17th century, was marked by a series of voyages of discovery led by European explorers. These voyages resulted in the discovery of new lands and the establishment of new trade routes. During this period, Europeans interacted with many different cultures and civilizations, and the Age of Exploration hugely impacted the world. Why do you want to know about it? I am interested in learning more about the Age of Exploration for a few reasons. Firstly, I am fascinated by the stories of these explorers and the courage and determination they showed in their voyages. I am also interested in learning about the cultural exchanges that occurred during this period and how they shaped the world we live in today. Finally, I am curious about the technological advances made during this period and how they enabled the explorers to reach new and distant lands. How do you think you can know about it? There are several ways I can discover more about the Age of Exploration. One way is to read about the period in books and articles. I can also visit museums and historical sites related to the period to better understand the events and people involved. Additionally, I can watch documentaries and films to get a better visual understanding of the events and people involved in the Age of Exploration. Conclusion: the Age of Exploration was an incredibly important period in the history of the world, and I am eager to learn more about it. By reading books and articles, visiting museums and historical sites, and watching documentaries and films, I can better understand this period and the people and events that shaped it. With this knowledge, I will gain a deeper appreciation for the past and its impact on the world we live in today. IELTS Speaking Part 3 Follow-up Questions. Here are some examples of follow-up questions that you may ask during your Speaking Part 3 by examiner related to Cue Card. Describe a historical period you would like to know more about. 1. Do you think nowadays children are learning too much about history? No, I don't think so. Though there are more sources for learning about history today, like museums, the internet and films, but children don't seem interested in the past, somehow. 2. Many children tend to get bored with history because of all these dates, time and names to remember. Do you agree with that? Yes, I do agree because even I am intimidated with dates. When there are too many dates to remember, it becomes boring. However, if history is taught through movies and TV serials, then many people would start taking interest in history. 3. Some people tend to go against the idea of learning from past experiences. What about you? Well, everyone looks at things differently. I believe that the past is a good teacher of life. You learn from the past and try to avoid those mistakes, which were made then. Many politicians have handled tough times with lessons from the past. 4. Do you think it is important to know about history? Or what can we learn from history? Yes, it is very important to know about history. History tells us about our past. It teaches us many things. Everything has its history. We enjoy the freedom we have today only because we knew that once we were slaves. History also teaches us not to repeat the mistakes of the past. We learn about the progress we have made through history. 5. How can people get reliable historical information? People can get reliable and historical information from books written by eminent historians, from museums, and from art galleries. Nowadays many reliable sites have information about history on the internet. 6. How do you think famous historical figures can serve as models for young people today? Famous historical figures can definitely serve as role models for the young people of today. For example, when the young people of my country learn about the sacrifices done by our great martyrs, they are filled with a sense of patriotism and want to do something for the country. 7. Do people in your country like to visit museums? Yes, people in my country like to visit museums. They learn a lot from them. The modern interactive museums are more interesting for the young people and children. For example, people of my state like to go to Pushpa Gujral Science City Museum more than the other museums because they have a lot to do and see over there. 8. Who do you think likes to go to museums more, children or adults? Both children and adults like to go to museums, but children enjoy those museums, which are interactive. 9. Do you think museums should be free of cost to enter? No, I do not think museums should be free of cost. These museums require a lot of maintenance, so a minimum fee should be there. Moreover, people do not value something which is given to them absolutely free. 10. Do you think local people and tourists should pay the same amount to enter a museum? Yes, local people and tourists should pay the same amount to enter a museum. If tourists were charged more, it would be unfair. Some people think that local people are already paying for the upkeep of the museums through taxes, so it would be okay if tourists were charged more. But I feel that tourists are helping in the economy in many other ways, so there is no need to charge them more for museums or other historical sites.